All right, welcome back to the Passion with Purpose podcast, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with Olivia Tarkowski today. And Olivia has been someone I've gotten to know a little bit in my business blueprint coaching program, which I'm so happy to have been able to get to know her. And she shared with me a little bit of her story so far and things that are happening in her life. And I wanted to bring her on the show so she could share a little bit of that. So Olivia, before we get too far into this, please introduce yourself. Tell people what you do, where you do it from, and how long you've been doing it for.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. So, hi, my name's Olivia. I run Olivia Tarkowski Photography, currently based in Kansas City, but I'm from the Chicagoland area, so I still have like a hub
Mm,
there and a hub here.
I like
Just
it.
I'm with both markets. And it'll be year three, July of this year. So, yeah,
Amazing.
that
Still
go.
love it.
Yeah, no, still love it, here for it. I'm super excited to be doing what I love doing.
Absolutely. So cool. Tell us a little bit about your background. So you said you've been doing this for about 3 years. How did you kind of get into it? And what was, the beginning of your journey like? Was everything just kind of smooth sailing, like steady growth, or was there kind of some ups and downs? And tell us
Yeah.
any of that.
I will try not to yap on this topic.
Hey, go for it.
So I grew up in a family full of entrepreneurs. Like my parents, ever since immigrating here from Poland, have just had their own business. I kind of just knew
Mm,
that lifestyle. But I was also told growing up that you can't have a proper livable wage or degree when it comes to only doing art-based things. So with that, obviously went through school, went to college, and I got a degree in advertising, which my
hmm
university kind of combined advertising to like a business creative role. So I kind of
hmm
like put my two passions together, talking with people and the creative side. So I thought, okay, that'll be like the art role I could do for
Yeah.
the rest of my life, live well, hopefully raise a family,
Yeah.
send kids off to college, all that stuff. So, but I really quickly realized that the corporate world is just not for me. But
Mm,
at that point, I still had no idea exactly what kind of business I wanted to start or any
mm,
of that mumbo jumbo. So, and also my industry took a turn for the worse, in my opinion, around 2020. So I graduated in 2021 from college, and at that point, it was kind of a chaotic year. So
mm,
start of 2021, that's where I feel like a lot of people on social media were exploding on the photography wedding side,
mm.
and right before that, big explosion, I also got engaged like later in that year. So kind of already like headfirst into the wedding world just with planning and all of that. At
Personally,
this
yeah.
so personally on that side of the wedding industry, around this time I also got my second corporate job, which I quickly realized just was not the right fit, but I
Mm,
was just so stuck. I had no idea what to do with
mm,
that. Thankfully it was a remote job, so after getting into the wedding planning a little bit more and just realizing that the corporate job wasn't it, I then started kind of like thinking and praying to God, like, what the heck am I supposed to be doing with my
mm.
life? And I was so stuck and so lost and confused. But
Sure.
what just kept on coming back to me as like a weird comfort was photography, because I always grew up doing photography, just like a side hustle kind of thing.
hmm
And so kind of just tapped into that a little bit more
hmm
and just kind of realized maybe that's what I should be doing. So
Yeah.
all that is to say, did my full-time job, but also just started really learning how to shoot manual. I asked my wedding photographer if I could second shoot for him. I found others in the Chicago area that I could second shoot for. So I took all of 2021 and most of 2022 just second shooting and learning and growing and just kind of figuring out this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Fell in love with this super fast. So then fast forward to July of 20, no, March of 2023, we moved to Kansas City from the Chicago area. I then 20 and once for my husband's job here, and then once he realized this is his he wants to stay at this company, I'm like, great,
hmm
awesome. July 2023, opened up the LLC and the business side of things, and September 2023, quit my corporate job and just kind of went full force into it. A lot of
So cool.
struggles, and it wasn't until I feel like this past May and 2025 is where I feel kind of more on my feet, knowing what I'm doing. But
Mm.
ups and downs, all the fun stuff, and a lot of that struggle did happen.
Wow, so interesting. I mean, it's cool to see that people can still go through so many different hoops and so many different life changes
Mhm.
and still end up in a place where they're proud of on the other side of it. I know that many entrepreneurs, especially in this generation, I think, because our generation is kind of the generation that either says, I'm not going to do what I went to school for, or I'm not going to go to school at all. And so I think a lot of people are kind of in this position where they're like, what else could I do? What's maybe, yes, a little bit unorthodox, but something that I could actually put my time and energy to and make it my own thing. And so I think it's really cool because I resonate with that. Like I went to college and then I didn't actually use my college degree much. I had like one corporate job or a couple, and then it was just like, I got to do this on my own. Like I want to be an entrepreneur. So cool that you shared that with us. Tell me a little bit about you said something shifted. Was it May?
Yes, it was May of 2025 is where I feel I shifted for the
Mm,
better. But before that, when I quit my corporate job, it was just struggle bus after struggle bus for
mm,
2 whole years. And it got to a point where I was sitting down with my husband, just like talking things through. I'm like, I'm giving myself one more year. This is January of 2024. And by, no, sorry, January 2025. And if by
mm,
the start of 2026, this is still literally going nowhere, maybe this
mm,
isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe that'll be a clear
mm,
sign from God at that point. But after like praying so much about it and like sitting down with my husband, just like realizing that I needed to lean on the Lord more than I
mm,
ever did, because I honestly did not. The first full year, I really relied on like networking and connections and just trying to
mm,
build my base here in Kansas City because I knew no one
mm,
moving here. Once I made that shift, kind of like realizing that it is honestly all in God's control and like
mm.
leaning more into Him and just kind of feeling comfort from Him,
Yeah.
that's where I feel like everything just changed for the best. That's when, and then May, that's where it's just out of nowhere, everything just kind of like boomed and skyrocketed. Like,
Wow.
I know it's honestly incredible. Like, I finally hit 4 digits, like 4 bookings per month, which never happened. I had maybe one booking per month
Yeah.
every other month or something like that. But starting in May, I had over 20 inquiries, which again never happened. It was like up
Yeah.
until this point, like 7 inquiries, one booking. But
Hmm.
now it was like close to 15 to 25 inquiries every month since May to
Wow.
like February now in 2026.
Wow.
Booking at least at like a 70 to 80%, sometimes higher, sometimes lower, depending on the month. Meeting goal after goal after goal to a point where I was able to close out my 2026 books the start of December, which saying that a year before that was like, there's no way that would happen.
Wild.
But I know, insane, but seriously, but God, like it's just He is always providing and always there and always just sustaining me in this business, which is
Mm.
so incredible to say. But well, I had another point. Oh no, I forgot it. But basically, yeah, it was just goal after goal to a point where taking a step back from the networking side of things, just like leaning in on Him, it made me also see exactly where I should be in the wedding world for Kansas City.
Right.
Seeing also I have all my connections in Chicago, leaning it into those more and just open up the market more to the full US versus just like Kansas City or just Chicago. Um,
Hmm.
Straight into Meta ads and Google ads, and that has really helped so much. Made a not myself, I hired a web designer who like made a whole new website, a whole new branding for me, and it's
Hmm.
speaks so well to my clients that
Hmm.
basically the moment ever since that got launched, which has been a little over a month now, anyone who inquires just wants to get on a call with me at this point just to make sure
Yeah.
we good vibe, and they book immediately, which is like
So
so great to
cool.
see.
Wow.
And got like nominated for a couple of finalist awards in the Kansas City area. Still, and I'm a finalist for two of those awards, and I'll be finding out later this month if I won those. But seriously, it's just been like a crazy shift in the last 6 months.
So crazy. And you really look at it and you're like, I think giving my business over to the Lord clarified so much.
It did. It really did.
Mm,
And like I had no idea how to do that. Like I've heard that from every person, like give your business to the Lord, lean on him. But I
mm,
just didn't really know how to accomplish that
yeah.
until like it just kind of clicked in May and
Mm,
joined the program and just kind of like everything just kind of like fell together and
Mm.
clicked into place. And it just has been nonstop growth and
Mm.
nonstop comfort since then too.
When did you join the program then?
May of 2025. So whenever they,
Crazy. That's nuts. That's so cool. So that's like right when everything really changed for you. And that was also right at the same time that you were like, all right, God, here we go. We're doing this.
I know, like, I'm not, this is gonna sound awful, but like, I drained my savings fund so many things leading up to May.
Mm.
And then
Wow.
basically the last thing was this program. I'm like, I'm gonna just give it a go. I have 6 months left till I have to possibly go back to corporate life. Might as well just give it a try. And
Wow.
it just has been nothing but beneficial information and guidance and learning. I'm just kind of like, I should have done this back when I first heard about this program. I think like in 2021,
Wow.
2022, whenever it first opened. But
Wow.
yeah, crazy.
Wild. It's so interesting to hear this because I know, like, again, I have my story of I didn't used to give my business to the Lord. And I mean, I want to ask you practically, and I don't even want to say anything. I just want to know if there's any practical, like, you say that back then you heard people say things like give your business to the Lord and you didn't know what they meant by that. Is there any practicals that you could give someone listening right now? Like, Olivia, what does that mean? Like, I
Yeah.
know I need to do that, or I know maybe I should, but how? Like, is that even like a practical step I can take?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously, I know everyone's faith story and journey is different. For what
Hmm.
worked for me this past year specifically was a lot of prayer, lots of
Mm,
prayer, and just sitting. I got into a good habit of doing just quiet times in the morning, whether it is like a
mm,
guided book of the Bible study or just my own little study here and there. But
mm.
just really leaning into that and just seeing what the Lord is teaching me and not just only applying it to my business, but to my personal life, to like my friends, to my husband, to my marriage, and everything involved,
Yeah.
everything like around that aspect. And then what also helped is just kind of shifting the mindset in my brain from, oh, this inquiry comes in, and I really, really, really hope that they book and do everything in my power to try and control that. But
Mm,
instead giving the control over to God. Like, let's say they do inquire, but they never book a call, and it's a dream inquiry. Not getting so bogged down about that or so stressed out and lose it, and so like, and not allowing like all those negative feelings to flood back in, like imposter syndrome,
mm,
doing enough, all that, but really just leaning in and being like, okay, there's a reason why they didn't book. I will never know, but I think about it as it's God protecting me in some way, whatever it
mm,
could be. It's just like it's His provision. He will provide me the clients that He wants me to serve in 2026, 2027, and beyond. And He will make it very clear on the
mm.
call, in the emails, just above all. So basically, just giving up control, lots of prayer, and just focusing primarily on Him daily versus like just putting Him to the side, if that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah,
Hopefully that answers
beautiful.
their question.
It does really. And I think again, it's different for everybody and people have to kind
Mhm.
of decipher for themselves
Yeah.
what that is for them. But at the same time, some of the things you touched on, I mean, it does come down to speaking with the person that we're talking about, and God is a real person, and
Mhm.
that's prayer, and that's getting in quiet places with him and talking with him. And like I have like business meetings with him so
Yeah.
often of, what should I do here and what should I do here? And I was just, it was actually a day or two ago. I was just driving in my car and I was like asking the Lord, like, should I be doing this thing in my business? Because I notice a lot of maybe people that I look up to, they're doing this, and should I be doing this too? And so then I kind of like made a plan to do the thing. And then I felt like the Lord spoke to me a random verse from Proverbs. And I was like hit with like, I don't think that aligns. That doesn't align with what the word of God says. Not that it was like anything immoral. It was just like, yeah, that's not a way to get to what I want to get to. That's not wisdom. And so I'm going to follow what the wisdom of the Bible says. And so there's so many times like that that we can actually have that dialogue back and forth with the Lord. And there is a lot of power in it. And it feels scary because we're like, God's going to make me poor and he's going to make me like, all this kind of stuff. But that's not like God wants us to be successful in the callings he's given us and I'm not saying God is like going to make everybody rich. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I do believe that when God calls us to something, he will equip us to do exactly what he wants us to do and to do it well. And I think when I say the word success, I'm talking about success in his eyes, not necessarily always success in the world's eyes. That's really cool that you say all of that. At this time, when you're going through all these things and then you see these transformations happening, were there any missing pieces, maybe even practically speaking, that you were like, I was not doing this, and then I started doing this in my business and things really started shifting? You know what I mean? Or did it, yeah, just anything like that?
Absolutely. I think having a very cohesive brand was the biggest missing puzzle piece to my business. I
Mm,
remember showing you my website at the very beginning of me joining this program. You're like, this looks cool on Instagram, but does not match the website. I'm like, you're
mm,
so right. So
mm,
it took me a while. I was like on the hunt for a web designer at that point, and I went through like not thousands, I'm over exaggerating, but like so many web designers. But my goal was for everything just to flow consistently from the colors to the photos to the
yep.
websites, all of that. So
Mm,
I think that was like one of the biggest missing pieces because now I barely, I mean, I do have those kinds like more buzzwords like documentary, nostalgic,
hmm
cinematic vibes on my website. That's kind of how
hmm
I always wanted to run my business before that became a trend.
Yeah. You're
um,
like, I was the OG of that.
Legit, I was the OG with like 5 followers. No one knew who the heck I was.
I love
But
it.
regardless, found a web designer that after viewing so many of her like web designing, branding portfolio pieces, like just being able to tie someone's personality and their goals and their business to their Instagram, to their
Mm,
website, like being able to click on that link and being like, oh, just this looks like what the Instagram
right.
portfolio looked like. It was just like a blessing that I finally found her. So, and I feel like that just now flows super well to a point where, like I said earlier, people just kind of like click on the link, inquire, and they kind of book almost on the spot because
Mm,
everything makes sense. Everything's there. I'm cohesive. I make sense
hmm
versus this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good. Maybe this is like a missing piece.
right.
And I am sorry, my cat is back. Oh, she is not moving.
Wants
um,
to be part of the show.
for sure. That's Parmy, guys. She is really sweet. And then the other thing is just having strong offers. I feel like the biggest
Mm,
differentiation point between all my offers back then was just like our points. But now I
yep.
have seen like the kind of market I want to get myself into,
Yep.
tailoring those packages to those kinds of people primarily. And
hmm
just right now, like the biggest interesting fact is that a lot of people are looking for, at least like for, at least in this area and in Chicago, are looking for a weekend long coverage. So kind of shifting that and just kind of playing around with my different packages and making each one distinct and different and tailored towards a specific person has also
Mm,
helped a lot because it's very easy. Now it has been very easy for people to be like, oh, this offer and now like really question, oh, do I need this or that one? They just kind of know, excuse me, going into it with
yep.
that. So I feel like those two just, and also on a personal level, being confident in the
Right.
consultation calls, being able to present my prices, my packages
Huge.
without any like showing hesitation or like, ooh, that's a little too much, like that kind of mindset. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's so cool. Especially when you talk about the branding piece. I do think that's a lot of people's issue, and not everybody's, but a lot of people's
yeah,
issue is that, like, I've looked at certain people's portfolio and the way that they present themselves in person, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of really highly effective content here. But
mhm,
then you go to like someone's website, like maybe it was like yours, and it's like, oh, it doesn't match. It's not as good. It's not pulling as much weight as the portfolio is or as you are as a person. And so we've got to get it there. And the fact that you went through all that work to find the right designer, because that's half the battle too, is like I have to
mhm.
not just find any designer, I have to find the right designer for me who can actually bring this vision to life. So powerful, so effective. And I do think that is worth the effort that you put into it and the investment, because I'm sure it takes investment to put in both time, energy, and money. Um, so that's so cool that that all happened. And you, I mean, you had like, you rattled off some really cool wins there, but like you doubled your income, did you not, from
I
when you
did.
first started the program back in May of 2025?
which is crazy to say. Like I doubled it, and I am projected right now to double it even. I think double it a little bit more. I'm not quite sure the right mathematical
Wow.
term there for the end of 2026. It is
Oh my
absolutely
goodness.
insane. Like the fact that I can say that this is bringing in profit, and this is also bringing in so much joy, and just so much just
Hmm.
amazing stuff for not only the business for growth there, but also for like my marriage and our family is just
Yeah.
it's so cool to see.
How has it impacted your personal life? Do you feel like there are impacts you've seen where you're like, okay, this isn't just a paycheck or this isn't just success in general, but like I actually see things in my personal life where things feel different?
Yeah, no, for sure. I will try not to ramble on this. It may be a little TMI, but kind of like how like my husband and I structure our finances is more
Hmm.
so we've always wanted just to lean on his finances because
Hmm.
eventually my overall goal is to hopefully become a stay-at-home mom. Whether
Good
if
for you.
thank you, like whether it if it was like corporate life or even like this, just being able to have like some kind of supplemental income to help build our family and send them off
Yeah.
to college, house, all that like fun, like life growing things.
Yeah.
And just at the beginning, yes, it was very rough and very tough. Like we weren't like ever really tight, but it was kind of tight here and there, just
Hmm.
living off of his income while just waiting for this to hopefully do its thing. But now kind of like
Mm.
having two uh what's the word? I don't even know what the word is, but like two incomes that are able to sustain us. Like if something were to happen to his job, we're able now to possibly even
Yeah.
sustain our life for a little bit on my income, which is like so cool to say. But
Yeah.
that wasn't the case like the last 2 years. But
Yeah.
overall, just seeing that growth, but then also seeing like the financial freedom that we're having, and
Hmm.
just being able to like to lean into those like family goals that we have for
Hmm.
ourselves later in life is just something that I've always dreamed about having, and here we are.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Lord
So
willing.
so is your husband in school right now?
No, he is an electrical engineer at Garmin.
Okay, gotcha. That's awesome. But you guys are still both working and you're that's awesome.
Yeah.
I also just feel like too, when you're at a young place in life like we are at and you have an ability, you have an opportunity
Mhm.
to build something up for your future. And you might, just like you're saying, Olivia, you're like, this might not be my long-term plan of doing this. Like maybe I would like to step back from working and
Yeah,
I'd like to be more of a stay-at-home mom so that I don't have to have my time split or something like that. That's still something that you can build even now is the
exactly.
flexibility later on to bring that on. And I think so often because a lot of young people are short-sighted, they think to
Mhm.
themselves like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Like I'll figure that future out when I get there." But the way that you're thinking in advance and saying, "I want to do the hard work now so that I set myself up for the future" is brilliant. And I do think that's something that us as entrepreneurs need to be thinking about,
Yes.
whether it's in your way or someone else's way. But having that mindset of like, I want to set myself up well for
Mhm.
the future financially, even like the way that you have money setting aside for investments further on so that they can still get paid out even when you're not working.
Right.
It makes such a huge difference. So I love hearing all of this. Is there anything else that, like, for example, if you could sit yourself down for a one-on-one coaching call, like I always
Mhm.
like to ask people that, like, where was that person and what would you say to her, different pieces of advice, whether mindset, whether tactics we haven't talked about, anything like that. Like if you could have that coaching call.
Yeah, no, for sure. If I could sit myself down literally a year ago and to that person and just tell her that it'll all work out, even if it doesn't seem like it, that's like the biggest thing I would tell her. But also, like, just to continue grinding, continue leaning on God, and fully actually understand how to lean on God. I think that is like the number one thing that
Mm,
was definitely the biggest shift in like April, May of
mm,
2025. And then figuring out exactly what I want to do, not depending myself on others and on networking opportunities and on other people, but like depend myself on God because He's the one
mm,
that's going to sustain me, my marriage, my husband, everyone like through everything, and then
mm-hmm,
keeping those goals in mind, kind of like how you touched on. The ultimate goal, like obviously, is to be a stay at home mom with flexibility and being there with the kids versus going back to corporate. But like having that in
mm-hmm,
the back of my mind, reminding myself that's what we're building towards. That's what this
mm,
whole um first of all, dream was to have that flexibility in life, just how my parents did when they raised both me and my sister, but also just to be able to provide the same thing for like my family. Um,
Hmm.
and then I feel like those are like the biggest things. And then yes,
Hmm.
like the little practical things, spend the money, get that designer, make a cohesive brand. It really just does pay off. And
Hmm.
100% join the program that you have been thinking about joining since when did you launch this? Like 2021, 2020,
Man, I don't even know. I think it was 2022 at the end.
something like that? Yeah,
I
basically.
should know, but I don't remember.
No, you're all good. But like, yeah, basically that got launched. Like, should have hopped on that train years ago, but we're
Hey,
here.
it's always in God's providential plan when you join something, when you are in a certain place to be ready for it. So I always say,
For
hey,
sure.
it's the right time when you do it. I would also say, and this, wait, before we go any farther, are your actual, like the parents, the generation right above you, are they immigrants?
Yeah, they're immigrants from
Wow.
Poland. Yeah.
So did you live there?
I did not. So I was born in Chicago. So
Gotcha.
they,
Okay.
they immigrated there like a few years before I was born, and my sister. But yeah, they're from Poland.
It's cool. I'm Polish too, so I was just
I
curious.
love it.
I had grandparents that immigrated, but not from Poland. They immigrated from Germany
Mhm.
during World War II.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we just like hear so much about like immigration and things from them.
I love it.
But that's really cool. I'm gonna throw kind of a curveball question at you because I've heard
Love
people
it.
ask me this.
Hmm.
So you're at this place where you have seen some really cool success in your business, and
Yeah.
I love that, and that's really awesome. But sometimes we are in a season where we're struggling and then we're able to rely on God in so many ways because it's like, well, the reliance is right in front of us, right? It's
Hmm.
right there. It's palpable. We can taste it. But then there's some times where we're like, we're doing pretty good and things are going pretty well and we feel pretty confident in what we've built. How do you still in that place find yourself dependent on him and find yourself like in what way do you still seek him even in the midst of success?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I'll probably have. I actually have a story to that. I just thought of
Cool.
that. So I'll lead with the story and then go into that overall question, if that's okay.
Hmm.
But so the success and all the growth started May 2025.
Hmm.
July 2025, I got this incredible inquiry. She booked on call. It was or at least what I thought was an ideal dream client.
Hmm.
And so that was July. And it was actually like around that time where I was just like, not realizing it in the moment, but
Hmm.
slowly being like, oh, I'm good. I don't really need to, I don't need to fully rely on him, which is like so false. But like I started kind of like not really going into quiet times more that frequently, or just really in prayer, just kind of being like, okay, I got this. I figured this out.
Yeah.
Needless to say, that ideal client ended up out of the blue canceling on me 3 months after the booking, and
Oh.
that's where like this like spiral pit of like, wait, hold on, what the heck just happened? Did I do something
Mm.
wrong? Did I like present myself wrong? Did I like
Mm.
say something? Like what happened? And then
So it
like
wasn't that they weren't getting married anymore, it's that they were just like, we're done
they
with
were just done. Like
hiring
they
you.
gave me a reason, and I obviously like, I don't know if they'll ever tell me if I'll ever know the real reason, but like the reason
Mm.
didn't make sense to me. But again, it was like that spiral moment of like, holy crap, I
Yeah.
really am not in control. Like even when an ideal client does come and I do everything in my power that God has given me to ensure that person to book, it still can go south. It still can
Mm.
like just like go in a different direction than I would have expected. So that was when I really realized that even amongst success and like growth, I need 100% be leaning on him,
Mm.
even more so because even through that growth, he's the one that will sustain me, and
Mm.
he's the one that will give me most importantly the confidence to know that I did
Mm.
nothing wrong, or
Mm.
even if I did do something wrong, he'll make that clear to me and
Mm.
help me kind of like work through that struggle. So even I feel like it's just, so I hopefully I'm answering this properly, but like even or well, because sometimes I ramble, but
No,
even
you're
like
doing great.
among success, um, if I don't if I don't like really put God first in the mornings, I just know like I'm not gonna succeed full in like in the long run as well.
Mm.
So after that moment happened, and of course prayed about it, did a bunch of quiet times, and got back onto my quiet time routine, I haven't really missed a morning with God yet to this
Mm.
date, unless I'm like severely sick or something, which has
Mm.
been happening too often last month. But
Mm.
so that's how I feel like I at least I continue just to look for God and
Yep.
continue just to like put God first in my not only business but like marriage, life, and all that stuff. And on top of that, a month after that inquiry, or a month after that, that couple decided to just upright just cancel me for their wedding. Another more so dream inquiry came, and it's a day that I'm
Mm.
so excited about in for
Wow.
July of this year. So it's going to be such a fun day in Chicago, but it's just
So
seeing that
cool.
he will provide in the end.
Yeah.
It's just something I have to keep on reminding myself that even in the lulls or in the success moments, he will provide no matter what, and he will guide me through those. So that's at least
Mm.
how I do it.
I love that story. It illustrates perfectly your point that you're trying to make there. And I think I always think to myself, even when I feel like I'm strong, I know that the strength is coming from the Lord. And so I dare not think that it's something from myself. It's only by the grace of God that I am where I am, that I'm standing on my 2 feet in my right mind, doing what I need to do, having any sort of success. And yeah, there are moments like that where I don't think God is, it's not like God's like punishing us, like you aren't relying on me enough, so I'm gonna, but it's a discipline. It's like a fatherly discipline sometimes of like, hey, hold on a second. I just want you to make sure that you're still with me here and that we're still doing this together because you don't want to go this alone. Like it's not going to go well. You got to be connected to the source of everything good. And then what's also cool is like you said, he provides, he has the abundance. He never runs out. I keep going back to that in my business all the time. I'm like, God just never runs out. There's always more. When he calls us, until he's done calling us somewhere, he is always going to have more. And I think that's what's so beautiful is like we don't have to ever worry about God leaving us or forsaking us because he's always going to be in the midst of it. I absolutely love that story. Olivia, thank you so much for being here. Can you please tell us where we can follow you, maybe on social media, or where we can check out your new website?
Yeah, of course. All my platforms on social media are at Olivia Tarkowski Photography. No, Olivia Tarkowski Photos. It's I try to shorten it a little bit. And then that's basically the same thing for my website is
Sweet.
oliviatarkowskiphotography.com. So yeah,
So cool.
just
We'll
you
make
guys
sure those get in the show notes so that people can just click right into it
love
and
it.
go follow you and follow along on your journey. But Olivia, thank you so much for being here. I
Yeah.
just so appreciated this and hearing your story. And I believe it's going to touch a lot of people. And I do believe you've given a lot of glory to God. And so I'm just so proud of you and so grateful to have you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. It's honestly a dream come true.